I'm Chloe Sterling, a 26-year-old financial analyst on Wall Street. I poured my soul into Project Chimera, but my ruthless boss, Julian Thorne, stole it flat out, mocked that I was only fit to train interns, and then threw me to the curb. Jobless and at rock bottom, I unexpectedly inherited an entire estate from an aunt I never knew I had, Aunt Beatrice. It wasn't cash. It was a shadow empire of dozens of shell companies. As I dug through her files, I found out. Project Chimera was a front for Thorne's money laundering scheme, and my mysterious aunt had spent her life hunting men exactly like him. Thorne's thinking fired me to bury his crime, but he made one fatal mistake. That single act led me straight to my aunt's inheritance, and now, the entire covert network she built to hunt predators like him is entirely in my hands. The hum of the trading floor was Chloe Sterling's symphony. At 26, she thrived in the chaotic ballet of flashing screens, rapid-fire decisions, and the intoxicating scent of ambition that permeated Sterling Capital. For months, she'd poured her life into Project Chimera, a high-stakes deal involving a global tech conglomerate's acquisition of a burgeoning AI startup. It was her brainchild, her meticulously crafted analysis, her ticket to finally breaking through the glass ceiling that seemed to hover stubbornly above every junior female analyst on Wall Street. Her mentor and tormentor was Julian Thorne. A titan of finance, with a shark's grin and eyes that saw only profit, Thorne was known for his ruthless efficiency. He'd plucked Chloe from a pool of ambitious graduates, recognizing her raw talent but never quite letting her shine brighter than his own polished ego. He was the kind of man who'd steal your thunder, then hand you a cheap umbrella. "Sterling, my office. Now," Thorne's voice, a low growl even when calm, cut through the din. Chloe's stomach tightened. She grabbed her meticulously organized binder for Project Chimera, her heart pounding with a mix of anticipation and dread. This was it, the final pitch. She walked into his expansive office, the panoramic view of Manhattan a stark reminder of the power Thorne wielded. He sat behind his imposing mahogany desk, not looking up from his tablet. "Close the door," Chloe did, her hand trembling slightly. "Good morning, Mr. Thorne. I have the updated projections for Chimera just as you requested." He finally looked up, his gaze cold, devoid of the usual predatory glint. "No need, Sterling." A chill snaked down her spine. "Sir. Project Chimera is moving forward, but without you." The words hit her like a physical blow. She clutched the binder tighter. "I don't understand. I led the analysis, the due diligence, every aspect of this deal." Thorne leaned back, a faint, condescending smile playing on his lips. "You did good work for a junior analyst, but this is big, Chloe, bigger than you can handle. We need someone with more experience, more gravitas." Gravitas. The word hung in the air, thick with unspoken sexism. More gravitas, less uterus. But who? Her voice was barely a whisper. "Mark Davies will take over. He's already been briefed." Mark Davies, a frat boy with a trust fund and barely half her experience, but with the distinct advantage of being a man and a golfing buddy of Thorne. "This isn't fair." The words burst out before she could stop them. Her carefully constructed composure cracked. Thorne's smile vanished. His eyes hardened. "Fair. Wall Street isn't about fair, Sterling, it's about results. And sometimes results require a certain touch, a touch you clearly lack." He gestured dismissively to the binder. "Leave your notes, Davies will need them, and I suggest you focus on something more in your lane, perhaps the new intern orientation next month." Humiliation burned in her cheeks. She felt her meticulously built world crumbling. She wanted to scream, to throw the binder at his smug face, but years of disciplined ambition kept her rooted. She placed the binder on the corner of his desk, her hands shaking. "Understood, Mr. Thorne." She walked out of his office, the symphony of the trading floor now a cacophony of mocking laughter in her ears. Colleagues, sensing the shift in power, avoided her gaze. Her desk, once a command center, now felt like an island. She knew the whispers would start soon. Chloe Sterling, too ambitious, too emotional, couldn't hack it. Wall Street was a jungle and she had just been thrown to the wolves. That evening, the city lights blurred through the tears she refused to shed. She was numb, heartbroken, and utterly defeated. Her phone buzzed. It was her mother. "Chloe, honey, I just got a call from a lawyer in Nevada. Said your Aunt Beatrice passed away." Chloe frowned. "Aunt Beatrice? Mom, I don't have an Aunt Beatrice." "Well, apparently you did. Your father's side." "A distant cousin, really? Your great-aunt, I suppose. Your dad never talked about her much. Said she was a bit of a recluse. But listen to this, honey, she left you everything." A nervous laugh escaped Chloe. "Everything? What does that even mean? A dusty old house and a cat?" The lawyer, Mr. Finch, said it's substantial. He wants you to fly out to Reno next week for the reading of the will. The absurdity of it all. Fired from the biggest deal of her life, and now inheriting from a phantom relative. It was almost comical. A week later, Chloe found herself in Reno, Nevada, a city of neon lights and fleeting fortunes. Mr. Finch was a kindly old man with sharp eyes and a perpetually worried expression. His office was surprisingly modest for someone handling a substantial inheritance. "Ms. Sterling," he began, his voice raspy. "Your great-aunt, Beatrice Sterling, led a unique life. She was a woman of great discretion." Chloe nodded, picturing some eccentric old lady hoarding cat figurines. "Her will is unconventional." Mr. Finch pushed a thick, leather-bound folder across the table. "She didn't leave you cash, Ms. Sterling, not directly. She left you holdings." Chloe opened the folder. Inside were not bank statements, but certificates of incorporation, LLC agreements, and partnership deeds, dozens of them. Names like Desert Bloom Enterprises, Silver Peak Investments, Nevada Ghost Holdings, shell companies. "These are shell corporations," Chloe stated, her analyst's mind immediately kicking in. "Dozens of them, for what purpose?" Mr. Finch cleared his throat. "Your great-aunt was an expert in asset management. These entities hold various interests, primarily in real estate, small businesses, and a rather extensive portfolio of intellectual property." Chloe's eyebrow rose. This was far more complex than a dusty old house. She flipped through the documents, her trained eye recognizing the intricate web of ownership. This wasn't just asset management, this was a fortress designed to obscure true ownership and move money. Lots of money. "Mr. Finch," she said slowly, "what exactly was my great-aunt's profession?" He sighed, adjusting his spectacles. "She was, in her later years, a consultant, and before that, well, she was a very resourceful woman." He paused, then added in a hushed tone, "She had a knack for finding things, and for making things disappear." A cold prickle of unease ran down Chloe's spine. This felt less like an inheritance and more like an initiation. Back in her hotel room, Chloe spent hours poring over the documents. Her analytical prowess, dull by the recent defeat, now flared with renewed intensity. The sheer volume and complexity of the corporate structure were astounding. These weren't just shell companies, they were layers upon layers, designed to funnel money through legitimate-looking fronts across borders and back again. This wasn't asset management. This was money laundering, on a massive scale. And then she found it. Tucked away in a subfolder labeled Sundry Accounts was a series of encrypted files. Her fingers flew across her laptop keyboard, running decryption algorithms she'd learned in her college hacking club days. The files opened to reveal transaction logs. Real-time, detailed transaction logs. And among the dozens of names, one name made her blood run cold: Thorne Industries. Julian Thorne's personal investment firm. Project Chimera, the very deal he'd stolen from her. The dates, the amounts, the intricate cross-border transfers, it was all there. Julian Thorne wasn't just acquiring an AI startup, he was using it as a conduit, a new, sophisticated pipeline for his illicit money. And he'd removed Chloe precisely because her meticulous analysis would have uncovered it all. The humiliation, the defeat, the anger, all coalesced into a single, burning resolve. This wasn't just about her career anymore. This was about justice, and about tearing down the man who thought he could walk all over her. But there was another file, even more cryptic. A single document, password-protected, with the title, Agent Nightingale. She tried every password she could think of: Beatrice's birth date, her own, common phrases. Nothing. It was then she noticed a small, almost invisible watermark on the document, a nightingale's silhouette. She called Mr. Finch. "Mr. Finch, what do you know about Agent Nightingale?" There was a long silence on the other end. "Ms. Sterling, I think it's time we had a more frank discussion. Your great-aunt wasn't just a consultant, she was an agent for the Treasury Department. An undercover investigator, and she wasn't just resourceful at making things disappear. She was cleaning up messes, big messes," Chloe gasped. "So these companies were her way of infiltrating the networks. She spent decades building this web, learning the players, gathering intelligence. She was closing in on something monumental, something that reached the highest echelons of finance and power." Mr. Finch's voice dropped to a whisper. "And she was killed for it. Killed, not just passed away." Beatrice Sterling, the phantom relative, had been a federal agent, murdered for her investigation. And Chloe had just inherited her entire, dangerous legacy. "The password for Agent Nightingale," Chloe pressed, her mind racing. "Do you know it?" "Only what Beatrice told me in passing," he said. "She said, the other half of my heart." The other half of my heart? Chloe repeated, confused. Back in New York, Chloe returned to Sterling Capital, a ghost of her former self, but with a fire in her eyes no one saw. She played the part of the defeated junior analyst, burying herself in trivial tasks, all while her mind buzzed with Beatrice's network. She knew she couldn't expose Thorn yet. She needed more. More proof, more understanding of the intricate web she'd inherited. She spent late nights, not at the office, but in her apartment, meticulously mapping Beatrice's companies, cross-referencing names, and untangling the money trails. The sheer scale was breathtaking. It wasn't just Thorn. There were senators, judges, even a few international figures. A global octopus with tentacles reaching into every shadow. The phrase, "the other half of my heart," gnawed at her. It sounded so personal, so intimate. She had always been an only child. Her parents never spoke of other relatives, especially not any with such an intriguing background. One evening, staring at a faded photograph of her parents from their early 20s, a tiny, almost imperceptible detail caught her eye. Her mother, usually so reserved, was smiling broadly, holding hands with a woman who bore an uncanny resemblance to Beatrice. But this woman was Beatrice. She looked younger, more vibrant, and in her arms she held a tiny baby. Chloe zoomed in on the photo. The baby was wrapped in a blanket, only a small face visible. But it wasn't her. It was another baby with strikingly similar features. A chilling thought took root, the other half of my heart. Could it be a sibling, a twin? She searched through her parents' old documents, something she rarely bothered with. Tucked away in a dusty box of photo albums, she found it, a birth certificate, her own. And beneath it, another one, same date, same parents. Different name, Alara Sterling. Chloe stumbled back, the papers falling from her trembling hands. Alara, her twin sister, and she had never known. Her parents, always so private, had kept this monumental secret from her. Why? Where was Alara? Was she the other half of my heart? Frantically, she tried Alara's name as the password for Agent Nightingale. Access granted. The document was a personal journal, not a formal report. Beatrice's elegant script filled the pages, detailing her life, her mission, and her deepest regrets. They took her, my precious Alara, my sister's child. They threatened to kill her, to expose her to the life I was trying to escape if I didn't cooperate. My brother, Chloe's father, thought it best to separate them, to protect Chloe. He thought Alara was lost to us, taken by the same forces I was fighting. He tried to hide the truth from Chloe, to give her a normal life. But I never stopped searching for Alara. She is the other half of my heart, and I will find her, even if it kills me. Beatrice had been an agent, yes, but she had also been protecting Alara, using her network to track down the sister Chloe never knew existed. The money laundering, the shell companies, they were tools designed to infiltrate the very organization that had taken Alara. And Thorn was a key player in that organization. The journal described a highly secretive syndicate, codenamed the Nexus, a global shadow government funded by illicit wealth. Their reach was staggering, their influence absolute. Beatrice had been on the verge of exposing them, and she believed Alara had been raised within their ranks, unknowingly groomed as an asset. Chloe now had not one, but two burning missions: dismantle Thorn and the Nexus, and find her twin sister. The next day, Chloe walked into Thorn's office, a composed, almost serene expression on her face. "Mr. Thorn, I've had a change of heart. I'm thinking about resigning." Thorn, caught off guard, raised an eyebrow. "Oh, and why is that, Sterling? Did the pressure finally get to you?" He smirked, the familiar cruelty returning. "Something like that," Chloe said, meeting his gaze directly. "I've realized there's more to life than spreadsheets, and more to money than profit margins. Sometimes it's about what that money truly represents." She paused, letting the implication hang in the air. Like, say, Project Chimera, a very interesting acquisition, so many layers, so many hidden channels. Thorn's face stiffened, the smirk vanished. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Oh, I think you do." Chloe leaned forward, lowering her voice. "I think you know exactly what the AI in Chimera is truly for, not just data analysis, more like data extraction, from offshore accounts. And then, rerouting it through a network of shell corporations, conveniently owned by a certain Nevada Ghost Holdings." Thorn's eyes narrowed, a dangerous glint replacing the coldness. "You've been digging, Sterling, that's a mistake." "Mistake or opportunity?" Chloe smiled, a genuine, predatory smile that surprised even herself. "You underestimated me, Mr. Thorn. You thought I was just another junior analyst. But I've learned a few things about networks lately. And I've inherited a rather extensive one." She watched his face, the slow dawning of realization, the fear. "Good. I want Project Chimera back, she stated, her voice firm, and full control. You will hand over everything, including your personal access codes to the offshore accounts linked to the Nexus. In return, I won't go to the SEC, the FBI, or the Justice Department with what I know. Yet. Thorne stared at her, his usual bluster gone. He knew she wasn't bluffing. Her eyes held a chilling certainty. You're out of your mind, he spat. Am I, or am I finally seeing clearly? Chloe stood up, her posture radiating an authority she hadn't known she possessed. You have 24 hours to comply, or this entire city will know exactly what kind of shark you truly are. She turned and walked out, leaving him to contemplate the depths of his own undoing. Her first task, after Thorne, was to find Alara. Beatrice's journal provided encrypted contacts and a coded message for her twin, a message only Alara would understand. The nightingale sings at dawn. Chloe used Beatrice's secure network to send the message, feeling a surge of hope and trepidation. What if Alara was beyond saving? What if the Nexus had truly corrupted her? A week later, a reply came. A single, anonymous message. Where does the nightingale sing? Chloe typed back, in the heart of the desert where the silver peak touches the sky. It was a reference to one of Beatrice's Nevada companies. A rendezvous was set, an abandoned diner on the outskirts of Reno under the cloak of a new moon. Chloe arrived early, her heart pounding a frantic rhythm against her ribs. She was armed with a hidden camera, a voice recorder, and a profound sense of uncertainty. A sleek black car pulled up. A woman stepped out. Tall, graceful, with the same sharp features, the same intense gaze, the same subtle curve of the lips. Alara, but her eyes held a hardness, a guardedness that Chloe had never seen in herself. Chloe? Alara's voice was low, wary. Alara. Chloe felt an emotional dam break. This was her other half, the sister she never knew. Alara's gaze swept over the desolate landscape. What is this? Why did you send that message? Chloe pulled out Beatrice's journal, opened to the page where she wrote about Alara. Our great-aunt Beatrice, she was looking for you, she was trying to save you from them. Alara's face remained impassive, but a flicker of something, surprise or recognition, crossed her eyes. Beatrice, she always was observant. She was an agent, Chloe said, watching her carefully. An undercover investigator, and she believed you were taken by the Nexus, raised within their ranks. Alara laughed, a short, humorless sound. You think you can take down the Nexus? A girl from Wall Street with a few shell companies? I'm trying to take them down, Chloe asserted. Beatrice was close, and I have her research, and I have Thorne. Alara's eyes widened slightly at the mention of Thorne. Thorne is a small fish in a very large pond. The Nexus, they are the pond, the ocean. She paused, then something shifted in her gaze, a vulnerability. Beatrice, she told me about you, about her sister, your mother, about the other half of her heart. She wrote that about you, Chloe corrected, her voice soft. She loved you, she never stopped looking for you. A single tear traced a path down Alara's cheek, the first sign of emotion. They told me she was a traitor, that she abandoned me. She was trying to protect you. She was trying to expose them, and they killed her for it. Alara's jaw tightened. I know, Chloe stared. You know how? Because I was there, or close enough. I heard things, I saw things. I've been building my own file on them for years. Waiting for the right moment, but I couldn't move. They watched me too closely. Alara's eyes met Chloe, a desperate plea in them. I'm still watched. But you're outside their radar. You're the unknown variable. The truth slammed into Chloe. Beatrice hadn't just inherited Alara's network. She had found her, established a clandestine communication, and subtly fed her information, all while maintaining her cover within the Nexus. Beatrice had been grooming Chloe unknowingly to be her successor, to finish what she started. We can do this, Chloe said, a fierce determination replacing the shock. Together, Alara nodded slowly. Show me what you have. Show me Thorne. Their partnership was a dance between light and shadow. Chloe, the brilliant analyst, meticulous and logical, untangling the financial intricacies of the Nexus. Alara, the hardened operative, trained in subterfuge and survival, navigating the treacherous underbelly of the syndicate. Thorne, now a terrified pawn, provided crucial intel. He became their unwilling informant, feeding them details about Nexus meetings, key players, and their increasingly desperate attempts to cover their tracks. With Alara's guidance, Chloe leveraged Beatrice's network of shell companies, not to launder money, but to freeze assets, disrupt transactions, and sow chaos within the Nexus's financial labyrinth. The Nexus, accustomed to operating in the dark, found themselves exposed to blinding light. Their once impenetrable systems began to falter. Bank accounts were locked, illicit deals collapsed, and their high-ranking members started to panic. Their ultimate target, Project Chimera. The AI was not just for data extraction. It was designed to predict market fluctuations, anticipate government interventions, and manipulate global economies in real time. It was the brain of the Nexus. "We need to shut it down," Alara stated, her face grim. "But it's deep within their secure servers. Only a few top-tier operatives have direct access, and it has an auto-destruct protocol if it senses a breach." Beatrice's journal mentioned a backdoor, Chloe said, recalling a cryptic entry. "A failsafe. The Nightingale's song?" Alara's eyes lit up. "That's it. It's a series of biometric and verbal commands, designed by Beatrice herself. She used it to create an override. She built the AI, didn't she, before she went deep undercover?" Chloe nodded, a surge of pride and sorrow for her brave great-aunt. "She wrote that she wanted a way to sing the system to sleep if it ever fell into the wrong hands." They planned their infiltration of the Nexus's main server farm, hidden beneath a seemingly innocuous data center in rural Virginia. Alara would create a diversion, while Chloe, using her unparalleled hacking skills and Beatrice's override, would try to shut down Chimera. To assist them, Alara brought in her network, a diverse group of individuals she'd cultivated over years, each with a unique skill set. One Marcus Ghost Thorne, a disillusioned ex-NSA hacker, older than Chloe with a weary demeanor but a lightning-fast mind. He specialized in network infiltration and digital forensics. He was wary of Nexus, having lost friends to their machinations. "Chloe, Alara, what you're proposing is madness. The Nexus has eyes everywhere. They're 10 steps ahead," Marcus warned, rubbing his temples during a clandestine meeting in a rented warehouse. "And we'll be 11, Alara countered, her gaze sharp. Beatrice believed in this. "So do I," Chloe added. "We're not just fighting a criminal enterprise, Marcus. We're fighting for a fairer future, for everyone they've crushed." 2. Dr. Lena Hansen, a brilliant AI ethicist from MIT, dismissed from her position after questioning corporate funding sources linked to the Nexus. She provided critical insights into Chimera's algorithms and potential vulnerabilities. "This AI isn't just smart, it's insidious," Lena explained, pointing at complex code on a screen. "It learns, adapts, manipulates. It doesn't just predict markets, it creates them. It's designed to exploit human behavior, not just financial data." "Can we turn it against them?" Chloe asked. Lena sighed. "Not directly without a full system reboot, which could trigger a global financial meltdown, but if we can find a way to corrupt its core directives." 3. Captain Javier Reyes, a former military special forces operative, now a private security consultant, whom Alara had trained within the shadows of the Nexus. He was their man on the ground, a master of stealth and tactical operations. "My team can get you in," Javier stated, outlining a complex blueprint of the data center. "But once you're inside, it's a timed mission. The longer you stay, the higher the risk of being discovered. The Nexus security is top tier." "We understand the risks, Javier," Chloe affirmed, looking at Alara. "We're ready." 4. Anya Sharma, a young, idealistic investigative journalist who had been chasing rumors of financial corruption for years but lacked the hard evidence to break through. She had an extensive network of contacts in media and government. "My sources are telling me something big is brewing," Anya whispered to Chloe during a coffee meeting. "But every lead I get goes cold. It's like a wall, a very rich wall." "We're about to give you the sledgehammer, Anya," Chloe promised. "But you need to be ready for the fallout. This will shake the foundations of power." 5. Ben Carter, a disgruntled former IT specialist for Thorne Industries, who had witnessed shady dealings but was too afraid to speak out until Chloe offered him protection and a path to redemption. He provided crucial internal access codes and system architecture knowledge. "Thorne, been using Project Chimera's secure VPN for months for his personal transactions," Ben revealed, nervously fiddling with his glasses. "He's arrogant enough to think no one would ever question his private network access." "Arrogance is a weakness we can exploit," Alara observed. The night of the operation was tense. Alara, Javier, and his small team, ghosts in black, moved silently through the perimeter, disabling cameras and guards with chilling efficiency. Chloe, Marcus, and Lena were hunched over laptops in a nearby secure command center, guiding Alara's team and preparing for their digital assault. "Perimeter clear," Javier's voice crackled through the comms. "Entering the facility. Alara, go." Alara moved with a fluid grace, a silent predator. She reached the main server room, a vast, humming chamber of blinking lights and whirring machines. "I'm in," Alara whispered. Guards approaching, 3 of them. "Alara, I'm sending you the override sequence," Chloe said, her voice steady, even as her heart hammered a frantic rhythm against her ribs. "You'll need to input it directly into the terminal while I activate the verbal commands remotely." As Alara engaged in a brutal, silent fight with the guards, Chloe began speaking into her microphone, reciting the precise series of phrases and tones Beatrice had documented in her journal. It was a strange, lyrical sequence, almost like a lullaby. "In the desert's heart where silver peaks rise high," Chloe murmured, her eyes fixed on the rapidly scrolling code Marcus was feeding her. Suddenly, a massive surge of energy coursed through the command center. Alarms blared from the data center, echoing through their comms. "Chloe, what's happening?" Alara's voice was strained, the sounds of struggle evident. "They've activated the self-destruct. Chimera sensed the breach." Chloe yelled, her hands frantically typing, trying to counter the shutdown protocol. "Lena, can you get me past this firewall? Marcus, I need a direct line to that core terminal now." Lena's fingers flew across her keyboard. "It's fighting back, Chloe. This AI is more advanced than we thought. It's adapting." "I'm bypassing the secondary encryption. Hold on," Marcus grunted, beads of sweat on his forehead. "I need more time, Alara. Keep them busy," Chloe screamed into the mic. Alara, bruised but determined, fought her way to the main terminal, finally subduing the last guard. She saw the countdown timer, rapidly ticking down. She input the override sequence as Chloe continued her Nightingale song. The tension was unbearable, a race against time and an exploding server farm. "The nightingale sings to sleep, to dreams of justice and truth." Chloe's voice cracked slightly, but she pushed through. Just as a final, blinding flash of light erupted from the data center, Chloe screamed, "Done!" The lights in the command center flickered, then died. Silence descended, broken only by Chloe's ragged breathing. Minutes later, Alara, limping but alive, appeared on their monitors. "Did it work?" Chloe looked at her, her eyes shining with exhaustion and triumph. "The system is offline. The nightingale sang it to sleep, and it took their entire network with it." Javier's voice came through. "Extraction successful. We're out. Data center is gone. No survivors among Nexus security." The aftermath was a whirlwind. Thorne, exposed by the collapse of the Nexus's financial infrastructure, was arrested. The FBI and Treasury Department, armed with the overwhelming evidence Chloe and Alara had provided, launched a massive investigation, bringing down high-ranking officials and financial criminals across the globe. Anya Sharma's explosive reports, backed by irrefutable data from Chloe, dominated headlines, sparking public outrage and demanding accountability. Ben Carter provided insider testimony, becoming a key witness against his former boss. Dr. Lena Hansen helped the authorities decipher the remnants of Chimera's code, ensuring no copy could ever be reactivated. Marcus, the weary hacker, finally found a cause worth fighting for, volunteering his skills to government agencies fighting cybercrime. Chloe and Alara, the unsung heroes, remained largely anonymous to the public. They faced a difficult conversation with their parents, who tearfully explained their decision to separate the twins, believing it was the only way to protect Chloe from the dangers of the Nexus. It took time, but understanding slowly began to heal the decades-long wound. "It wasn't fair what they did to you, Mom," Chloe said, holding her mother's hand. "But you did what you thought was right, and it brought Alara and me back together." With the Nexus dismantled, Chloe had to decide her future. Wall Street no longer held any appeal. The pursuit of profit for profit's sake, the cutthroat ambition, seemed trivial after what she'd experienced. "So, what now, sister?" Alara asked one evening as they sat on the porch of a small cabin in Montana, a safe house Beatrice had maintained. Chloe looked out at the vast, peaceful landscape. "Now we build something new, something transparent, something that actually helps people, not just profits from them." She poured her inheritance from Beatrice, the millions hidden in those shell companies, not into personal luxury, but into a new venture. A financial institution with a revolutionary model, a nonprofit investment fund dedicated to ethical finance, sustainable development, and empowering underserved communities. It was called the Nightingale Fund. Alara, with her street smarts and deep understanding of the underbelly of finance, became the head of security and intelligence, ensuring the fund remained impervious to corruption. Together, they built a team of like-minded individuals, including Lena, Marcus, and Javier, forming a formidable force dedicated to reshaping the financial landscape. They became advisors to government agencies, helping to draft new regulations to prevent future nexuses from forming. The Nightingale Fund quickly gained a reputation as a beacon of integrity in the often murky world of finance. They invested in green energy, affordable housing, educational initiatives, and small businesses that truly made a difference. They championed transparency, demanding ethical practices from their partners and publishing every detail of their investments. One day, Chloe received an email from an anonymous source. It contained a single attachment, a grainy photo of Thorne looking gaunt and defeated being led out of a courthouse in handcuffs. A faint smile touched Chloe's lips. Justice had been served. "We didn't just win, Chloe," Alara remarked, watching her. "We changed the game." "We gave people hope, Alara," Chloe replied, turning to her sister. "That's what Beatrice truly wanted, not just to dismantle evil, but to build something good in its place." In a world often overshadowed by greed and corruption, Chloe Sterling, the quiet analyst, had found her voice. She discovered that true power wasn't in hoarding wealth or dominating markets, but in integrity, collaboration, and the courage to stand for what's right. Her journey, from a victim of corporate backstabbing to a leader of ethical finance, resonated deeply. She showed that even in the face of overwhelming darkness, one person with a clear vision and the right allies could ignite a movement. The Nightingale Fund became more than just an investment firm. It became a symbol that a better, more just financial world was not just a dream, but an achievable reality. The hum of her new office, filled with collaborative energy and shared purpose, was a far sweeter symphony than any trading floor, a testament to the enduring power of truth and the unwavering strength of the human heart, finally made whole.